Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to another Lifehack Advisors video and podcast episode. Today we're hitting on another life hacking essential, and I do have coming into view at some stage from another planet, Stephen Parado, original life hacker. Stephen, please join us. I summon you.
Good intro.
Today we're going to be discussing a tool some of you may be familiar with, to others it may be new, for others you might need a few tips. And I've learned a few tips recently, so I'll be sharing because I was more of an amateur and still am an amateur on it. But our topic is Evernote. If you have not discovered Evernote, it is extended hard drive for your brain. It's amazing.
Indeed.
So Steve, how are you doing today exactly? How do you feel, man? How are you?
I feel like Charmeleon about to evolve into Charizard. Flamethrowing.
That's heavy duty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Well, as I told you earlier, I felt like a Wookiee coming out of hibernation, and that was true. I think I'm back to how I felt yesterday. I haven't done squats or deadlifts in a few days, so I'm a grasshopper on steroids after having some yerba mate tea.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Clarity of the mind. So why don't you dive in here and tell us how you discovered Evernote, how you use it now, and why it is such a major life hack.
I discovered it while reading The 4-Hour Workweek.
He mentions it there?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
That's like 10 years old.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, or I read the updated version of it.
Ah.
So he might have put the updated version out in like 2010, and I read it in like late 2010.
Yeah.
So I got it out of there and immediately put it to use. I installed it as a program on my computer, and before I knew it, everything like you said, it became an external hard drive for my brain. Yeah. It was that helpful and that useful.
Yeah, for me, prior to Evernote, I used to be driving or doing whatever I was doing, and I'd use my phone to record like just a audio clip of my idea.
Yeah.
Like that was the most advanced I got. And until...
And then how do you keep track of all of it too?
I would usually forget. I'd never go back to those files on my phone. That's the point. And I didn't realize until fairly recently that Evernote had that feature. I would do like, you can definitely share from a podcast. I told you, I wish it would do it to that exact point in a podcast. I haven't figured out that, but you can be in a podcast, share to Evernote, at least from Android. I don't know about Apple. And you can also just record a voice note. That's been the big lifesaver for me.
Huh. I actually haven't used that yet.
And I was listening to a different podcast the other day, and they were talking about basically, I'm not a big down regulator of my hormones, so I don't do a lot of long distance jogging anymore. I do more hill sprints, wind sprints, and stuff like that, more high intensity interval training. But I do get a lot of ideas in the shower or running sprints. And yeah, you can actually record a voice note, which is often a lot easier than trying to type it all out. So that for me is my big update on Evernote. Doesn't mean I still go back as often as I should to sort through those, but
yeah, that's why it's good to structure it in like an organized fashion. So it's so much easier to go through and to reference it and to expand upon things.
Now, what are some other uses that you've applied? Because you've been using it a long time now.
Yeah.
And how are you incorporating its benefits into your goal of freedom of location and time on planet Earth?
It's pretty much where like the initial step of every idea that I have. So that's one of the uses for it. So if I get an idea, instantly goes to Evernote. That's always where I write it. Unless like I don't have internet, then I'll save it just as a regular note on my phone and eventually transfer it to Evernote. So everything starts there. If I get an idea, it's on Evernote. And then if I want to expand upon it, I'll go to it later and expand upon it. So like every one of my ebooks has started as an idea in Evernote, and I just kept expanding on it and expanding on it.
Same with your blog posts?
Maybe the ideas for the blog posts,
Yeah.
but I do the actual writing for my blog posts and outlining in WordPress.
Gotcha.
But for books, I do the whole outlining process in Evernote.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How many ideas do you think you have in there right now?
How many ideas? I don't know.
Arbitrarily?
Like in terms of ideas, probably a few, like individual ideas.
Yeah.
Like a few hundred. You know, some of them are little ideas, some of them are book ideas, project ideas, business ideas, a lot of that. So if you combine all of them, in the hundreds. And in terms of notes, I have, looking at my Evernote right now, 219 notes.
Now, as an essential life hack, if you could only have one of the many we've covered and plan on covering in the future, and I said, you've got to give up either Evernote or coconut oil for a month, which one would it be?
Shit. I'd have to give up coconut oil for a month. That's really how indispensable Evernote is to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You couldn't go old school with a journal?
I could, but it's just so much more difficult. Yeah. Or even like the notes that comes as an app on everyone's phone. It's just like it's so much more disorganized, and you can't. It's way less dynamic too.
Do you use the premium version or
No.
do you use the cheapo version?
I just use the free version. Even though at one point I could have used the premium version because I have a note that's just a list of interesting quotes that I come across.
Yeah.
So one time I was going through it on my phone and I accidentally deleted it. So I deleted my whole list of quotes from like whatever 3.5 years of compiling.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get it back. So I started a new list of quotes recently.
That's painful.
Yeah.
Oh. That's a feature of premium?
Yeah, you can actually go back and like restore your history, I think. And it like saves it too. Yeah.
All right. Well, anything to add on Evernote, or are we ready to move on to the next one?
That's all I got. It's the external hard drive for your brain. It's your own personal internet.
Do you feel any different than you did at the beginning of this discussion?
Yeah. A man can never step into the same river twice, for he's a different man and it's a different river.
You got it. All right. Questions, suggestions, feedback, positive comments. We're on iTunes. We are on YouTube.
We're everywhere.
Lifehack Advisors, email us info@lifehackadvisors.com, and we thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Peace.